My leg. Watch your people watch from top people watch. Si c'est roi, jamais esclave. Je suis loin du game de la PM, j'ai des grands.
Okay, everyone, just confirm that we're present in the chat. So we have Fatima from Nigeria. We have Hope from Malawi. Cameroon and Crispus from Uganda. If you're present, just say hello in the chat so we know you're present. Yes, I can see Crispus already. I can see Salam. I can see Hope. Fatima is here. And, okay, Marianne is not yet there. Part of Mariam. Everyone else is here.
最后怎么没吃呢？
Still the only stuff. All right, we're going to just wait for some few minutes so that others can join before we start. Okay, we're going to start while waiting for the others to join. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to this exciting and much needed conversation on locally led climate actions and youth adaptation finance. My name is Akenji Jenin, and I'll be moderating this session today. I'm stepping in for Yapsega, who unfortunately couldn't join because of some health challenges. We are sending our best wishes to her. Right now, we're just going to move forward in introducing our panelists. Firstly, we have the founder of Ideal Farmers, a Cameroonian who has championed many women-led initiatives in Cameroon and whose name is recognized all over Africa. And this is no other person than Kenyuin Mariant. And next we have the co-founder of Powers, Future Prowess Foundation, pardon me. She's also a software engineer and a climate advocate. And not to forget, she's a UFAFA 2024 alumni from Nigeria. Is no other person than Fatima Zana. We also have on board the executive director of Futuristic Hope Action and a YAF ambassador, who is no other person than Hope Mandela from Malawi. And lastly, we have on board a social and environmental activist and an entrepreneur from Uganda, who is no other person than Mr. Chris Bruce. So these are the panelists of today. I'm going to give each of them time to go deep into what they do and their contribution to the climate space. So we're going to start with Kenui Mariant from Cameroon.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Um, can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you, Mariant.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Axia, for inviting me to be a guest speaker here. It's a pleasure. I am Kenny Mariant, as Akenji already introduced me. I'm a farmer and I practice mostly sustainable agriculture in that I deal in the construction of greenhouses, designing of greenhouses for a particular region and I also do fish production, and I also do um, youth involvement, that is bringing youths together to promote youths who are doing who are practicing agriculture in an event in an annual event called the Ideal Farmers Youth Recognition Award. So when it comes to my role in the climate space, the role I've played, I've been a vocalist. I've spoken out loud about the impacts of climate change. Being someone who has been impacted by climate change, I've had incidences, I've had incidences
Marian, your network is breaking. So I don't know if you can move a bit. You know, in Africa, when you have network issues, you need to just move around and you're gonna get some. So Marian, I think while you're doing that, we're going to go to Fatima from Nigeria. So Fatima, if you can unmute yourself and just give us an in-depth presentation of who you are and your contribution to the climate space. Thank you.
From the village, Kaku.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, Zana, we hear
Hello?
you.
Oh, you can hear me? So,
Yes, we
hello,
can.
good evening, everyone. And thank you for having me. My name is Fatima Zana Mustafa from Nigeria. I'm also the co-founder of Future Forest Foundation. I'm a software engineer, climate advocate, and also a Women Tech Makers ambassador. My work focuses on bridging the gender gap in tech, empowering youth, and driving climate action through innovation. So today I'm excited to discuss how we as young leaders can take charge of locally led climate adaptation and push for increased youth adaptation finance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fatima. For Marians, if you didn't really get or really catch what she was saying, I think later in her presentation, she'll be able to give us insights on what she does and what Ideal Farmers is all about in relation to the topic of today. So next, we're having Hope Mandela from Malawi. Hope, please kindly unmute yourself and tell us who you are and what you do.
Good evening, everyone. From Malawi, I am a driven and a motivated young entrepreneur, a climate activist, and also a media personnel. I am an ambassador for YAF here in Malawi, and I'm an alumni for the second edition of the Nairobi Summer School on Climate Justice. And I work with Futuristic Hope Action as the director. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next we have Crispus from Uganda. Crispus, just kindly unmute yourself and tell us who you are and what you do. Crispus, are you there?
People, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yes, thank you so much. My name is Biarhanga Crispus, and the co-founder of Munasi Green Initiative, and I'm also an alumni at Nairobi Summer School, and I wear so many hats. I'm also a member of parliament for our 7th Youth National Parliament, and I'm also an alumni at the Oxford Net Zero with Oxford University with the Global Youth Coalition. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much to all of our panelists for that brief introduction. Please, I would not want this session to be as usual, or just a session where we just come talk, share ideas, and nothing is done. I really wish, and I'm hoping that after this, everything we speak about, every idea we share, every solutions we propose should be implemented or should be put to action in different sectors. So while we're sharing, while we're talking, if it will benefit you more, you should take notes. You should have a pen and a paper beside you to jot down clever solutions, clever ideas that will be shared here. So we about to delve in without not wasting much time into why we're gathering here today. We have heard a lot about global climate policies, but what about local actions? Why should solutions be driven by communities rather than imposed from the top? Why should solutions be driven by local communities rather than imposed from the top? Since Henry Marian is really facing some difficulties with internet, we'll have Hope Mandela to answer that question. Hope, are you there?
Can you come again on the question?
Yes. Yes, the question is, why should solutions be driven by communities rather than imposed from the top? Why should solutions be driven by communities rather than imposed from the top?
Okay. All right. Thank you for the question. It is because of the communities, they feel ownership and also empowerment to the project which they have been granted. So when these communities take the lead in addressing climate issues, they feel more empowered and invested in the solutions. And this ownership can lead to more sustainable and long-lasting results. For example, currently, the projects that we are doing for the vegetables, the trees, the beekeeping, we delivered it in such a way that every member feels that this is mine. I'm doing something which is mine. Thank you.
Yes, that's a beautiful response to that question. But why is locally led, and how can youth play a leading role in building community resilience? Because I remember recently I was sent an article on a project you were working on, that's Hope Mandela, in which you were sharing on some beehiving and I think vegetable growing projects which were fruitful. And I could see that you shared a lot of difficulties in this domain, a lot of challenges. So how important, or why is locally led climate actions important? And how can youth play a leading role in building community resilience? Of Mandela.
Come again on the question.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, network was tripping. Come again.
Okay. The question goes thus: why is locally led climate actions important? And how can youths play a leading role in building community resilience?
Youth can play resilience through advocacy and awareness. Uh, this is to say, young people can raise awareness about climate change and its impacts, the need for sustainable practices through social media, campaigns, and also educational programs. So their voices can influence policy changes and also drives the local government to take action. And also for the innovative solutions, youth are more likely to embrace new technologies and ideas, and they can lead initiatives that introduce to sustainable practices in their communities, such as eco-friendly agriculture uh, uh, and also sustainable projects. Like in my case, I'm doing the green initiatives. So, so for example, the beekeeping that I'm doing, introduced to the community the beehives, which are modern. So I'm trying to impart the new knowledge, the modern knowledge to the community on the new technologies. Thank you.
Yes, I recently read an article about you, Hope Mandela, in which which was talking about community vegetable garden flourishing in Kasungu. I think this is one of the projects you were lead in, and which was a beautiful initiative. I could see the pictures and how much of produce have come out from this kind of initiative. I don't know if you had some pictures that you could share with the audience so that everybody can be a partaker of such great work.
I I recently shared the document. I don't know. It was supposed to be shown from that side.
Okay, I'm going to put it on screen right now. Just give me some minutes. I'm going to put it on screen right. Okay, I don't know if everybody can see my screen.
Yes, I can see it. Keep going.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, for the pictures, they are. It keeps scrolling. They are down. Yeah. So I when I came back from the Nairobi Summer School, that is in 2022. I was determined to create change in my community. So I launched a beekeeping initiative in Mponda village in Kasungu, that is Malawi. And I started with 5 beehives. That is in
back from the summer trip, that is in 2023. I was returning to this one. So I launched it from the village for Malawi. And I started with 5 bees. Then I started back from the summer trip. I started returning.
I don't know. Hope it's like
some people
your
should
network is breaking.
no, some people should unmute themselves. Mute, yeah. Okay. So I was saying in 2022, that's when I started with 5 beehives. And in 2024, Futuristic Hope Action received a financial support from the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance to implement the need-based advocacy on adaptation in Africa. So we added those projects from beehives, and we also included the vegetables and also the fruit trees. So the picture you are seeing, those are the community members, the beneficiaries. They are 40 in number. And then the figure 2, they are the beehives, which we made. They are 20 in number, but we have 10 for the top bar beehives and also 10 for the modern beehives, which are the Langstroth. Yes, thank you. So those are the mango seedlings, the hybrid mango seedlings. Within a year, that is in January next year, we'll be harvesting from those seedlings. Our target is to come up with 4,000 mango seedlings, but currently we have done 1,300, of which they are currently being grafted. So the figure 3 is showing that people are grafting those mangoes, the community members, and the other picture, the figure 4, is showing the site where we are doing our orchard for all the fruit trees. You can, and that is the site for the vegetables. We have 1 acre for those vegetables, and we also have planted half acre for tomatoes. Currently, we started also selling the vegetables, and the tomatoes, as you can see, they are flowering. And we also planted. We have also planted a new site for tomatoes. 3,000 seedlings, which are being transplanted. So that is one of the group member on the newly established nursery. That nursery has been established last week, and the one you are seeing on the figure 8 is an example of the watermelon. We also planted watermelons for about 1 acre. And we are also preparing to plant more watermelons for about 2 acres. Thank you. That is all about the pictures.
All right, thank you so much, Hope. And this is very, very interesting. I think after this, we're going to share such an amazing work in the various platforms in which we we are in this Facebook or TikTok, and I think I'm going to give some time for the panelists to share their handles, their social media handles, so that in case anyone will want to follow for mentorship, he or she should know where to get you. So a question for Kenny Marian. In your work with Ideal Farmers, how have you seen local initiatives outperform externally imposed solutions? So in your work with Ideal Farmers, how have you seen local initiatives outperform externally imposed solutions?
Thank you very much for the question. I hope everyone can hear me now clearly.
Yes, we can hear you now clearly. You're back.
Okay, thank good. I've seen locally led initiative outperform imposed solutions in that locally led solutions that are being given by people, that are being suggested by people on ground, that they're actually facing these problems. So they suggest ideas that they think will actually work. Most often, ideas coming from the top, they are just research that has been done. They've looked at solutions that have been done elsewhere, and it's imagine this solution can work in this community. And when they impose it, or the people in that community, they don't feel like they're engaged in it, or it's completely new to them, and the idea might be far off from what they normally know. But then ideas that come from the community, they have been experiencing that particular problem, they know how they've been managing it, and maybe a couple of people have tried and they have succeeded, and they're sharing it with other people. So they're sharing from experience, and with that, people in the community turn to absorb it. And when this solution moves from bottom to top, they feel like they were part of the solution. So even if a locally led solution goes right to the top, then it's imposed back. The community feels like, okay, this idea was given by us. They don't feel like it's imposed. They feel like, oh, they took our idea and they made it official for everybody to follow. So they get to adapt to it. They get to embrace it, and they get to practice it better than imposed solutions. In an African community where I'll talk predominantly for my sector, which is agriculture. We have mostly the aging population. These people are adamant to change. You cannot just come to a community and introduce something they've never done, they've never heard of, and expect them to just accept it. So with a locally led initiative, the community accepts more, they embrace it, and they practice it more than imposed solutions.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you mind? When we're talking about locally led initiatives, we're talking about responses, we're talking about solutions to problems faced by a group of people. And you cannot be bringing solutions to problems faced by a group of people without involving them, without them being the source of these solutions. I think one of the ways by which you would get the indigenous people to cooperate in this adaptation movement is by involving them in dialogues, by involving them in meetings where we discuss about the solutions to climate change, because they have the MasterCard. They are the ones living and facing the impact of climate change, to the harshest point. And I think that they are the ones to even propose what they can do to adapt, because most of these people we're talking about have already developed ideas. They have already developed strategies to combat climate change without our knowledge. And sometimes the solutions we even propose, and before we are going to the field to talk to them about the solutions, they have already crafted their own and it's working for them. And sometimes the ones we bring are even incomplete. Let me not say wrong, but are incomplete. And they have chosen a sector that works for them and they are performing in it, you see? So most of the times, it is very important that the solutions are voiced out and are implemented by those who face the impact of climate change to the hashes of levels. So talking about local initiatives, we will not also fail to touch the diverse sectors. Marian has talked about agriculture. Let us talk about the digital sector. Fatima, I know you are versed and you have a tech background. How can digital tools empower local communities in climate actions? And perhaps if you have tested some, you can propose to us those you have tested and some success stories you have had over a period of time. So how can digital tools empower local communities in climate action? Fatima? And sorry, please, for the questions, permit that we take it at the end of each presentation so that we can make sure we don't answer the same questions over and over. So permit that we hear all of our panelists talk first and we jot down our questions, then we get the answers at our conclusion phase. Thank you. Fatima, are you present?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are very audible.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So I think digital tools can actually empower local communities in numerous ways. When it comes to information and education, we have climate information portals. We provide access to climate data, the forecast, and also the alerts. And there are also some online courses, like before I attended UFAFA, I also had to take some online courses, which is also for them to educate us. So we have to educate communities on climate change, adaptation, and also the mitigation strategies. We also have mobile apps. Mobile apps such as the weather forecast, climate trends, and sustainable practices. Now, when it comes to community engagement and participation, we all know that we're in a digital era. So we have the social media platform. We have to facilitate community discussions like this one we're having currently. But this is a global discussion because we have different people from different zones. So can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, so we have to facilitate community discussions, sharing of experience as we're doing now, and also climate-related news. We also have the online forums and discussion boards. They also enable our communities to share knowledge. They ask questions. As of now, I know a lot of people are curious and so they are willing to ask questions. And we have to collaborate on climate-related projects. When it comes to crowdsourcing and citizen science initiative, we have to engage communities in climate data collection because they know their communities better. When it also can't just come in a community that we don't even know anything about and then claim, okay, we're going to collect data, monitor and research. We have to bring them in. They guide us through the data collection, the monitoring, and also the research. Now, the climate resilience and adaptation. We have to come up with early warning system. When we are to provide real-time alerts and warnings for like extreme weather events, we're enabling the communities to take action. also climate resilient agriculture platform, as I think his name is somehow hard for me to call. So we have to offer guidance on climate resilience, agricultural practices, and also crop selection. You know, there are some certain places that some certain crops don't grow, and also the soil management. But I feel like the most important one is disaster risk reduction and management tools. We have to support communities in preparing for, responding to, and also recovering from climate-related disasters, which are what we are actually focusing on now. So when it comes to now economic, best thing I'll say is an e-commerce platform. We have to enable those communities because we can't just come up with practices that will not be climate resilience. So we have to enable those communities to sell climate resilience products, such as the solar powered devices or sustainable crafts, and also digital payment system. We have to facilitate those transactions and access to financial services, also promoting our economic resilience. Then lastly is now sustainable livelihood training. We have to provide online training and resources on sustainable livelihood, such as the renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and ecotourism. So I believe by leveraging these digital tools, local communities can actually enhance their climate resilience and also improve their livelihood and contribute to global effort to address climate change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fatima. You know, we live now in the digital world, and everything we do should move towards this direction. For example, here in Cameroon, there is a campaign that started abruptly. Right now, I'm even still surprised at what the youth are able to do through the strength of social media, through the strength of their phones. We have recently a waste management issue in the prominent towns here in Cameroon. And what the youth found out was working for them is rather than going to stand before beautiful buildings, before hotels and snap good pictures for Facebook, they rather take these pictures to these wasteful areas where the waste is not managed well. They dress well, go there, take videos, and they are dancing, take pictures, and they are posting. And they will not say that maybe Cameroon is dirty or something. They will say, look at the beauty of Cameroon. And I think actions like this will push reasonable policies to be made in this direction. But we can see from this that the phones we have in our hands are a strong tool. And that's why I would say every climate advocate in this generation should be a journalist. Journalist in what sense? There is a lot you can communicate through your cell phone. And we are not just touching every direction or every part of our daily lives just for fancy, but to show us that it implicates every single thing. It implicates the agricultural sector, it implicates the digital sector, and so on and so forth, as we will discover as the meeting unfolds. Now, let us, before even going further, please, if you have a question, you can type in the chat section, but don't forget to mention the name of the person to whom you're addressing the question, so that later we'll be able to efficiently know who is asking what. All right, we'll move forward to Mr. Crispus from Uganda. From your entrepreneurial perspective, how can local businesses drive climate resilience? How can local businesses drive climate resilience? Mr. Crispus, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I hope I'm audible. Am I
Yes,
audible?
yes, you are.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just want to start by acknowledging the people who are on the call today, especially the panel. And thank you, Mr. Moderator. I also want to acknowledge the different fellows from my different alumni programs, people like Walter, Elizabeth from Nairobi Summer School, people like Kent from the Yali program. You guys keep me going with your support, and also people like Slivia from Facture. Thank you so much for your mentorship, and thank you so much for your opportunity. So I'll take on this question in a point of, because we at Monastir Green Initiative, first of all, what we are a social, we started up as an NGO, then we moved up into a social enterprise. This was our beginning in 2016, but then we saw this thing was not really sustainable, so we decided to go the social enterprise way. So with climate resilience and climate adoption, there is really so much within the nature that we can harness and then turn into businesses. Like, for example, for us at Monastir Green Initiative, realized that things like apiary, which is beekeeping, and also food and food forests, there is so much of business to do right there. And looking at the way that we can connect this together is we have to know that as we as communities and as individuals, we have to understand that the environment that we are working in with is so rich, and how do we set ourselves as different businesses in this kind of environment is by realizing that there is a lot of sustainability within these different angles, especially when you're working with nature, and especially with the beekeeping. The capital that you put within the beekeeping is not really so much in terms when you compare the ratio towards the profit, because there's a lot of products that come with the beekeeping, like honey, the venom, the propolis, the wax, and also other products that you can venture into, which are cosmetics and also other different things. And there is also the other element of different natural-based materials. Now, for example, at Monastir, we are working with different ways that we can scale our local communities, but then still looking at nature-based solutions. So we are working with different materials like papyruses and also calabashes. In these calabashes, we're making different kind of things that are really not just only for the beauty, but for the practicality of it. Like, for example, we're making alarm clocks out of these calabashes, we're making lights out of these calabashes, and also different designs. So, and different products that we are selling on the market. And you see that this is really creating an environment whereby the people are really engaged in knowing what these different would be nature-based raw materials be turned into other different economic opportunities for themselves. And we are training these people and also skilling them, building their capacity, and also mentoring them, and also providing them with the necessary equipment to do the things that they need in both ways, especially with the beekeeping and also the food forest and also these other different natural materials that I've been talking about. So this has actually morphed up into something else that has led into different would-be entrepreneurial enterprises, like the formation of a circle in my local community where I come from, which is a farming community in Kasenke village. Now this small circle started with a membership of almost 10 members, which was like 3 years back. But now I'm happy to say that the membership has grown to over 150 members. So you see that there is a lot of things that really come out of these things, like improving our biodiversity, our food security, and also our economic kind of standing within our communities. So I hope I've answered the question very well. Thank you so much. Back to the moderator.
Yes, you have done justice. You have clearly defined and brought understanding to what the question entails. But we will not move forward without acknowledging the presence of a guru in the climate justice space. He is not just a big name, but one of the first names that comes up when you search climate justice, not just for the hype, but because of his immense contribution to climate justice advocacy. He is no other than the co-founder of the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance and the executive director of the African Coalition for Sustainable Energy and Access. Many of you might know him from diverse names, but we know him as Dr. Augustine Njamshi. Sir, if you have some words for the youths, you can kindly just unmute and You have the floor.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to hide under a pseudonym to listen to the young people speak. I'm so happy for this discussion that is taking place. I am so amazed by the fact that those who have spoken are actually hands-on on the ground. Fatima, Chris, Hope, Marianne, I mean the guest speakers. You are doing great things on the ground. I'm so proud to be an African old man. You know, the idea of having a youth movement on focusing on adaptation and adaptation finance was to have youths that are focused on what is a priority for the continent. It is adaptation and adaptation finance. And you are not only high-flying youths jumping from one meeting to the other. I'm seeing people working on the ground. I hope you will multiply such a rencontre or such meetings because there's more to discover in this continent. And this gives us hope because at the end of the day, the advocacy that we do is not just for talking sake. We are seeing practical use, and the fact that the solutions you are bringing on the ground are from a felt needs perspective, instead of being imposed by others. That already shows some kind of greatness for the continent. And you are not the leaders of tomorrow. I can't fool you. You are the leaders of today. And that leadership you have taken with, you know, with courage, dexterity, and, you know, courage. So I'd like to thank you. I didn't want to speak here. I just wanted to spy and then go away. But now that I've been put on the spotlight, I just want to say congratulations to the speakers, Fatima, Hope, Marianne, Chris from Uganda, and a host of others. And a moderator, I think you are doing a great job. Thank you. And the next couple of days, we'll be announcing the dates for the next YOFAFA, which will take place somehow in June. As you all know, the Nairobi Summer School will be taking place back in September, the first week of September in Addis Ababa. So the YOFAFA, the Youth for Adaptation Finance Forum in Africa, will be taking place in June. I will be announcing that very soon. I think the committee is still discussing amongst themselves, and I'm privy to such discussions. So thank you very much, and I wish you good luck. Again, take home message. Organizers, YAF committee, you people should multiply this. I think there's more to discover on this continent than what we can imagine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. We often need words like this to keep us going. It's true that when you're suffering from headache, you need some Panadol. So words like this comes to strengthen, comes to encourage, comes to build and rebuild even hearts that are discouraged. And we have heard or mentioned the Youth Forum on Adaptation Finance in Africa, YOFAFA, and the Nairobi Summer School on Climate Justice. These are platforms that gather youths from all around Africa. And I think it's going close to, if we want to put it in a number, we should be more than 20,000 to 30,000 youths around Africa, online and on-site, who have been impacted greatly by these initiatives. This is a platform that gathers youth. In case you don't know, what it is. It's a platform that gathers youth to discourse, to impart them about climate change, to give them knowledge, in-depth knowledge about climate justice, to transform them from just talking to action. And we have recorded so many success stories, and you even have alumni here who are panelists and who introduce themselves by that hat. We have names like Meeting Sandrine and Nyanga Sandra. These are people who are championing the climate justice advocacy, and you can see them everywhere on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok. Those are the small names I can remember. But this two people, because I would like to call them people, have done a great job, a great job, and are still doing a great job for recruiting youths, transforming them from talkers to doers, and bringing about a generation of young minds who are ready to do everything to make sure the earth is healthy for this generation and the generation to come. Is an amazing work. It's an amazing work to do. So moving forward, Hope Mandela, we are coming back to you as a YAF ambassador. What strategies have you found effective in mobilizing local youths for climate initiative as a YAF ambassador? Hope Mandela, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you come again on the question?
Yes, the question is, as a YAF ambassador, what strategies have you found effective in mobilizing local youths for climate initiative?
First of all, I use awareness and advocacy. So I raise awareness about climate change and impacts. I raise awareness for the need of the sustainable sources. So in this, it is easy to mobilize the community, and also we also use educative skills. We invite expertise in order to mobilize these community people, and also we teach them in order to make sure that whatever we are doing, whatever project we are implementing, it is clear, and it is clear, and also they know what they are doing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Fatima, I think we once spoke about a project you were working on that is training indigenous people on how to operate a computer and how to operate, how to work on websites, how to create apps, and just educating them on some technological know-how. But what I want you to shed light on is, what are the roles, or what role should policymakers, financial institutions, and all alternative funding models play in supporting youth-led climate initiative? Fatima?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So I think one of the biggest challenges young people face is that policymakers still see us as future leaders rather than the leaders of today. But I'm so happy, as Engineer Augustine just said, that we are the leaders of today. So this mindset actually needs to change. Youth need to be actively included in climate adaptation planning, not just as participants, but also as decision makers. For instance, in Maiduguri, many youth-led agroforestry projects could flourish if land rights were made more accessible and if funding processes weren't so complex. Government grants and climate adaptation budgets should have dedicated youth-friendly funding system. That means simple application processes, mentorship for proposal writing, and also direct financial support to grassroots leaders instead of filtering, funds through large institutions that don't actually engage with those local realities. Financial institutions must also step up. Imagine if we have low interest loans tailored for green businesses, startups that produce eco-friendly fashion from recycled materials, young farmers practicing regenerative agriculture or solar solutions built by youth engineers right now. Right now, many of these ventures never get off the ground because youth lack collateral or the right connection. Banks and investors actually need to create special funding mechanism for young climate entrepreneurs. And also, alternative funding models are also key. Crowdfunding platform, cooperative funding, and also local climate adaptation funds could allow communities to pool resources and invest in their own solutions, because we can't just come up with solutions that are already working for us when we haven't even been to their own. So one idea I love is the concept of Green Youth Fund. That's what I did with my foundation, where young people actually pitch their projects and receive both mentorship and funding to bring their ideas to life. This is something we should actually advocate for, local, national, and also international level. And finally, international donors need to trust local donors. Too often, funding is caught up in bureaucracy or given to organizations that don't have deep community roots. So let's actually shift power and resources directly to the young people on the ground who are already making an impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fatima. So we see that while global policies set the stage, community-driven initiatives are the actors that bring climate actions to life. By valuing and integrating local perspective, we can develop more effective, inclusive, and enduring solutions to combat climate change. But there is often a pain that comes with this advocacy. Finance is often the missing piece. Despite young people's leading powerful climate solutions, funding remains very limited. So let's unpack this. Why is it so difficult for youth-led initiatives to get access to adaptation finance? And what needs to change in this process? So I'm going to start from Marian. Why is it so difficult for youth-led initiatives to get access to adaptation finance?
Thank you very much for the question, Akenji. In my opinion, I think the mistake most of us youth do is that sometimes we think of funding, we keep thinking funding, that we start trying to develop projects targeting funding and not targeting projects that are replicable or projects that are actually can be implemented in our communities. We're trying to design projects that are good for funding, but then they are not good for they're not going to be implemented in our community, which makes it takes it to a disadvantage, because most funding bodies would like to fund projects that can be replicated, that can actually yield fruits. And also youth still work on projects that they don't develop their projects very well, which is understandable, because not everyone is that really open. Not everyone understands the idea behind project management. They don't know how to set up their project. They don't know how to present their projects. So they cannot really present it in a way that it can attract funding. So most of the projects are not bankable. And most youths, they don't do data collection. We just work like you might try something and you succeed, and then you're happy you did this and you succeeded, and then you're looking for funding. Now funders want to know figures. Okay, this thing you did, how did you do it? What were the results? How many people can it impact? How can you replicate it? How much will it cost you to replicate it? How much did it cost you to create the initial prototype? Most often, we youths, we fail to take data from day one when we're doing our projects, which is a mistake that we do, and we really need to work on that, because I think almost every person, including me, we make all these mistakes at the beginning. And also the funding from the funders end, uh, it takes a lot of process. For example, we have applications. Some applications are so lengthy. Some applications will take you 2 weeks. They required so many documentations. All of this, not every young person is able to have access to this documentation. Not every young person is able to have the money to do all the necessary documentations to be able to apply for funding. And also a lot of funding always require that the project should have been at a particular level, already at the level of probably replication, which, to get a project, sometimes we have amazing ideas, but then our environment, we don't have like that support in the environment to be able to create that prototype, or to create a prototype is so expensive that we are unable to do it, to test it before going for funders. So ideas just end up being ideas, or they're not well executed to that level that it will be funded. And a lot of youths, they focus on getting funding, just funding, not really to do that project. And I think that has been realized in a lot of projects, which is also discouraging a lot of funders. So youths will collect the money for funding and they'll end up not doing that project, which is very disastrous, because funding, we'll hear that funding has come in, but then we don't see actions, because we youths at times, we are our own problem. We are our own problem, because funders, they give us the funding and they don't see us doing the actions. This goes a long way to discourage the funders from giving funds, and then this will block people that are doing genuine work, people that are doing real work on ground, from getting funding, because it will be assumed most youths, they take this funding and they don't really do anything. This is why you see most funders would like to pass through a body that is already existing in that community, so that they can really control, to verify that all the youths are actually doing what they claim they are doing. I think that's all I have for that.
All right, thank you so much, Marian. That was very, very, very insightful. Now, to Hope Mandela, we're coming back to you. How has your organization been able to navigate the financial barriers, and what lessons can you share with your peers here today?
Thank you for the wonderful question. First of all, I would encourage my fellow youth that first of all, I would like to encourage my fellow youth that you start with a little you have. In my case, as I said earlier, that when I was coming from the Nairobi Summer School on climate justice, I started with 5 beehives, and I started with 6 youths and 2 women. I started by teaching them and mentoring them on whatever I learned from the Nairobi Summer School. So what I would encourage them is to start a little. Start with little you have. And then it also needs patience. You need to have patience. For me to be supported by the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, it took me years after trying to light different projects and source different funding sources. So it needs patience. Some people, they do give up earlier that things are not working. And also utilize every opportunity at hand. When the opportunity comes, make sure you utilize every opportunity. And how we handle our finances and everything is we record, and also we make sure that we seek mentorship from other people who are higher than us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hope. Thank you so much. And to Crispus, we are already rounding up. After this, we're going to take some few questions. So if you have any question, you just type in the comment section with the name of the panelist you're addressing the questions to. So Crispus, tell us, what innovative financing models have you encountered that could be replicated to support youth initiatives? What innovative financing models have you encountered that could be replicated to support youth initiatives?
Thank you so much. In my experience, I'm kind of getting a back echo on my end. Kindly ask that the person mute themselves. Okay, thank you so much. In my experience, there is something that I've been working on with a team of some few entrepreneurs from the US, Canada, and Brazil. It's a collection of different people with different skills and different backgrounds. So there is something that we call alternative models of financing, where we are exploring blockchain that is driven by community, decentralized, autonomous kind of setting or organizations. There is something that I work on. There are two things, which is seeds. One of them is seeds is kind of a cryptocurrency that rewards people in the communities that are doing activities that are really based on eco-friendly and that are really sustainable, that are regenerative, and this kind of setting kind of rewards people like farmers at the deep end, activists, and all these kind of people who are involved in this whole circle of the green ecosystem. And there is also something that is called like another thing that I'm working on, which is the holistic cooperative society, whereby we're putting people of different skills together, and we are kind of doing outsourcing and different ways of getting different kind of employment, or different people being rewarded for their eco activities and something like this. This is things that can go further, and we are looking on turning where we are working with this thing on the blockchain. We're exchanging these things into actual fiat currency, and people are exchanging this money and being rewarded for their small activities that they're getting. Though at the initial stage right now, it's really so small. The impact is not really that much because of the traffic that is being used by the network, or even the awareness of the traffic itself. So we find that there is need for education around these alternative models that are really working and really the future. Because 10 years back, we're not really thinking about cryptocurrency. But right now, the blockchain looks like it's the future, because it's being embraced by different stakeholders, financial institutions, and also government institutions. So you find that we need to look into these alternatives. If there is a possibility of this cryptocurrency being turned into fiat currency, why can't we have these people who are being rewarded? We've seen the carbon markets. So this was the kind of environment that we looked up into, and then we're like, we could start up something like this. And we are pushing this thing to go into different networks. If this is something that really interests you, you could reach out to me, and then I would introduce you to the network. And there is also something else that we can look into, the existing financial institutions I think they should de-risk like climate for especially for climate investments for the youth, and also provide low green like low investment green loans which are microfinanced. Like for example, solutions that we have, they all have some kind of business element to it, whereby you find that with our honey or with our apiary projects, there is a lot of diverse products, like for example, the honey, the venom, the wax, the propolis, and all that. So these things at the market, you find that they're really helping our communities. For example, like a gram of bee venom goes for almost 60,000 on our Ugandan market. I think that is almost like close to almost, if I'm not wrong, it's almost like $15. You see, that's a lot of, it goes a long way to support people in our communities. And there is also things that I've encountered, like for example, here in Uganda, there is something that is called the MTN Changemakers Fund, whereby these social enterprises have started to realize, or they need to do so much in supporting like these small scale environmental projects. MTN is doing it here in Uganda, though the impact is really still small. And I would think like banks like the African Development Bank would come up with something like this, whereby they're giving access to these would-be young entrepreneurs who are tackling climate adaptation, provide them with these low-risk loans and also this kind of microfinancing. And I think this would be the way to go. And for the youth out there, I think we also need to be informed and also look out for our opportunities. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Crispus. All right, we're going to move now to the questions. We have Neva Fury from South Africa. He says, to futuristic hope actions, considering the fact that the rainy season is coming to an end in Malawi, what initiatives/plans have you put in place to ensure that there is progressive productivity in the agricultural practice? I think this is for Hope Mandala. And the second question is, in terms of seasonal crops and in situations where there has been inadequate rainfall, how do you plan to deal with that issue? Hope Mandala, I think this is a question for you because the subject matter here is Malawi. But if anybody else has any contribution after Hope, you can as well share. Okay, Hope, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Nevapidi. Based on that question, our community and we had plans already that as rain will go to an end, we'll consider buying the solar system, and the water pumps. So we bought the water pumps and solar systems, so the solar panels. So currently we are just waiting for an expert to come and mentor us on how to operate such a system. That is by the end of the next month. That's when he will be coming to train us on how to manage the irrigation system. Thank you so much.
All right, Thierry, I hope your question has been answered. We have another question from Yango Victor from Cameroon. My question is to Marian and anyone in the climate action. From an investment perspective, what are some of the personal challenges you face in raising finance for your projects? And how have you been able to go past these challenges? I think, Marian, this is for you.
Okay, Yango, thank you for the question. When it comes to the challenges I've faced with raising finances, my first major challenge was my initial starting capital, but then it was because I kept thinking too big. I kept trying to do something massive that I forgot I could start with the little that I had, without having to go out requesting for extra funding or requesting for loans, going to the bank and search for financing. So that was my first mistake. I was thinking big. And the second challenge I faced with it with organizing events is when the idea is new, when the idea hasn't been practiced, and you don't have data, no matter how good it is, you have to be very lucky for you to talk to someone and let the person listen to you, or the belief in you, and to that extent of funding your project. So that was the second setback. So, but then to solve that, I took my time and I tried doing things at my reach, doing the little I could do with the little that I had, building my portfolio, building my database, trying out several things, because the truth is the first thing you try, there's a high probability that it's not going to work. So you can probably invest in the first thing and it fails, the second thing and it fails, until you reach a project that is actually really good. That from your idea to implementation, everything is perfect, and then that end up being the project that you might be able to use to source funding. And I think those are just like the major setbacks I had. And to ensure that I didn't fall back in that system of having to go looking for people, I tried looking for projects that had the business end. So it's one thing to have a project, it's one thing to have an idea, but then it's a complete different thing to make that idea a business. So when you make it a business, you can start at a small level. I started at a small level, and slowly I improved. Slowly I started having a few which caused me to which led to an increase in my finances, which led to an expansion in my activity, which led to diversification. So the best way to do this is by starting with what you have. Don't think too big. Don't think you need to bring the entire nation together first. Start with the little you have. Do what you can do. Look for a project that is that can be a business that you can sell and you can bring you income without depending so much on funding. As you grow, you're going to have data. Then you can then present to people, and then funding is going to come in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marian. Before you go, I want to ask a personal question. If when you had your idea and maybe the first people you brought this idea to were your friends, maybe family, were this group of people supportive? And if not, what kept you going?
Akinji, I lost you.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, my question was, when you had your idea, when it was still an idea, and maybe you were sharing it to your close people, your friends, your family, did they support you? And if not, what kept you going after that?
Your end on mine, but I get your question.
That is what motivated you after that kind of setback. That's in case the friends, family, those close to you, the first people you present your ideas to, they don't turn out maybe to like it or to encourage you.
Okay, so when I had my idea, I shared it with a few people, and most people told me, Marian, you're in Cameroon. This thing is not going to work. People are not going to listen. And like more than 80% of people that I shared my idea to, that discouraged me. But I had a couple of people, couple of people that encouraged me. There's one person I'm always very grateful to him. I made a tweet on Twitter. He reached out to my DM. He was like, okay, he's not in the country. He's like, I like your idea. I see you have a mind to build something. I'm going to support you with 100,000. It was that first 100,000. That was the first uh extra funding I had from anyone, extra money I had from anyone to start my business. I'd never spoken to this person. I'd never shared or communicated with him. It was our first interaction. He said, I've been reading through your profile. I see you have something in mind. And though I cannot be part of it, but I'm going to support you with the 100,000. That is all I needed. That is all I needed. That one person that believed in me and went as far as supporting me. I tried and failed and tried and failed. And I just kept going because I knew there was one person who believed in me, who supported me without even knowing me. So at times, it's not the number of people that support you at the beginning. If you have that one person that can support you blindly, that's all you need. If one person believes that it can work. And also, I'm a kind of person that if I have an idea and everybody says, excellent idea, I start doubting the idea. But when people tell me, no, this your idea will not work, I like to ask, why do you think it will not work? When they give me the reason, at the end of the day, I'll use the reason to fine tune my project. I use them as research to fine tune my project to make it a better project. So at the end of the day, I always love negative review because negative review is what tells me what aspect of my business I need to work on.
This is so great. This is so great. Thank you, Marriott. And I hope everyone is listening and taking down notes because, as I told you from the beginning, this will not just be another session of talking, but after this, we're going to put it into practice in our different sectors of work. So we have, as I think, a last question from the audience. This is Adarus Ismail. How can pastoral communities enhance their resilience to climate-induced disasters through locally led climate actions initiatives? That's the second question. What technologies could be effectively implemented to support these efforts? This is Adarus from Somaliland. And I think an answer was given already by Dr. Simpilo. Here he says, there is need to construct dams, boreholes, pumps to mitigate long dry wells. There is need to construct water canals to dams, enhance early warning systems, build knowledge capacity and indigenous knowledge, cross-breeding, keep natural animals that can withstand heat, outbreak of disasters and stress. So if I hope this answer is enough. If not, if somebody has something more to say, you can as well just raise your hand up. If you have another contribution you could give as a response to this question, just raise your hand and you'll be given the floor from the audience. Or if any panelists too has anything to say on this question, you can as well raise your hand. Okay, if not, then I think this answer is quite an interesting one. It's quite an interesting one. So we are gradually coming to an end, or to the end of our meeting today. This was an insightful discussion. But before we close, I want to hear one key takeaway from each of our speakers, one take-home message from each of our speakers. So we're going to start with Fatima Zana from Nigeria. And please do this one exercise. When you are done with your key takeaway, endeavor to give your social media handle so that in case somebody wants to follow you for mentorship, the person will be able to reach out to you. Just give your social.
Moderator, I didn't see the icon to raise my hand. Permit. Excuse me, I have to make a comment here.
All right.
Of all questions you've asked the panelists, I think one of the most important ones is the question you asked Marian on how did she push on with discouraging reviews or discouraging comments from the beginning. And her answer was a great one. I like to use this opportunity to encourage each and every one. It's simply because not everybody here was a panelist. You could hear experiences from people. Hope from Malawi said something that he's been trying for years and not giving up. And just last year, I think we gave him our first grant for under this YAF from the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance. And I just want to encourage all those who are doing something on the ground that don't give up. I think the future is not bleak. With consistency, you can always break mountains. So whatever you are doing, believe in yourself and know that it can work with or without others supporting you. That's what you should first have in mind. And I know so many people that get discouraged. But at the same time, there are some youths that when they have their first finance, they just think that they have arrived and they stop doing what they were doing to attract that finance. So we should learn our lessons from those who have been so excited and have failed, and those who have been so persistent and have succeeded. I think this forum for exchange is very interesting. It is important. And again, as I said, I'd like to encourage you to multiply these kind of platforms and interactions. Thank you very much. I didn't want to speak, but I thought that that was a key point. That question to Marian is important to encourage others. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Augustine. Okay, we're going to give the floor to, we have so many applauds. We're going to give the floor to Fatima Zana for her final words.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, the key advice I would give young people looking to secure funding or actually grow their climate adaptation projects is securing funding isn't easy, but it's possible. So my first advice is start small, but always dream big. I know a young woman in my community who started a women's cooperative growing drought-resistant crops in her backyard. She didn't wait for big funding. She used what she had, built evidence of impact, and later secured NGO support to expand and train others. So every big project starts with one small, well-documented step. So secondly, network relentlessly. Join local and international climate groups. Attend forums, and connect with people who can support your work. At Yofafa, I actually met young innovators who secured funding simply by showing up and sharing their ideas in the right spaces. If you can engage with policymakers, elders, and local leaders, they can offer credibility and support for your initiative. Third, tailor your pitch. Not all founders are the same. If an organization actually focuses on gender equality, then frame your project to show how it empowers women in climate adaptation. If a donor supports reforestation, highlight how your initiative restored degraded land. Be clear and specific. Instead of saying we need funding for our project, we will say we need $2,000 to buy seedlings and training materials for 50 families. Founders respond to concrete and measurable impacts. Finally, don't wait for permission. Many successful youth-led climate projects started with zero funding, just passion, community support, and creative solution. So before we wrap, I want to leave you with something that stuck with me from your Fafa. Every time someone took the mic, the first word they said were more than double, adaptation finance now. So what does that really mean? It means that the money currently allocated for climate adaptation is not enough. It means that while young people and grassroots communities are actively creating solutions, they are held back because of lack of financial support. It means if we don't urgently increase funding, we risk losing everything we are working for. Locally led climate action is not just an option, it's the key to resilience. So today I ask each of you, whether you're a policymaker, a funder, or a young climate leader, think about how we can shape resources directly to the people doing the work. Because adaptation isn't just about climate, it's about survival, justice, and the future we want to build. So more than double adaptation finance now. Thank you.
More than double adaptation finance. What do we want? Climate justice. Thank you so much, Fatima Zana from Nigeria. But one thing you did not do was to share your social media handle. So I'm going to give you just 1 second to do that before I go to the next speaker. Fatima, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, can you come again?
Yes, I said one thing you did not do was to share, you did not share your social media handles. So I'm going to give you 1 second for that.
Okay, I'll drop it now in the chat box.
Okay, great. While she's doing that, I think we'll go to Kenny Marian. We'll finish with the ladies first before we go to the gents. So Kenny Marian, if you have any last words, this is the time.
Okay, Fatima has literally said everything. What I'm going to say is, it's just a kind of reminder to all of us youths. While we're in this activism stuff, it is very important that we also have something on ground. If we're aiming to actually convince people to believe in what we are doing, it's one thing to talk, it's one thing to talk, it's one thing to talk and just keep talking, and it's one thing to lead by example. I want that I pray for a generation that we youths we lead by example. We should not just focus on talking, but let's try to ensure that we have something that we are doing. And while we are looking for something that we can be doing on ground that aligns with our climate activism goal, we should look for things that are actually replicable, things that are needful, things that the community needs. Not just looking for ideas because you want to show that you are doing something, but do something that would impact the people around you. If you're able to impact 2 lives a day, if you're able to impact 4 people in 1 month, these 4 people in turn impact other people. But then people believe you more when they see what you do, when you don't just talk, but you take action. Because I came to realize most of us youth, we do a lot of talking that we forget that we are supposed to do some groundwork. So my gentle reminder to all of us is that Dr. Jamshi already mentioned it. We are not the leaders of tomorrow, we are the leaders of today. So we need to start taking action. We should not be the leaders that talk without action, but we should be leaders that speak with action, that lead with action. Thank you all. It was amazing. The interaction, I did learn a lot. And I'm looking forward to more interactions like this. Thank you very much, Akenji. Thank you very much, Axia, for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much, Marian. We have Fatima's social media handles already. The links are there in the chat box. Marian, I think you should do same so that others can reach out to you as quick as possible. This is also a platform for networking. So we're going to move now to the gentlemen. We're going to start with Hope Mandela. If you have any take-home message, this is the time.
Okay, thank you so much. The only thing that I can say is when us youth receive funding, let us always make sure that our focus should not be on the personal benefits, but we make sure that we are truthfully impacting the community. Thank you so much.
That was brief and insightful. So you're just going to do same. You drop your social media handles in the chat box so that before the meeting ends, we can have access to you directly. Okay, we're going to close with Crispus from Uganda. Any take-home message?
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible enough. So my advice would be to the young entrepreneurs out there seeking climate finance is first of all, before we even think about securing the funding, we need to think about the sustainability of the projects that we are doing and the impact they are creating, which will definitely make us investor ready and funder ready. And there are also other strategies that we can look into, like for example, leveraging storytelling. Funders really connect with impact-driven stories, like you showcase the real life impact of your initiative. I've always believed that if you can tell the story of one person, you can tell the story of a community, and from there, the story of the nation, and eventually the story of Africa as a whole. Connect with this. Everything is really connected, and there are connections everywhere. I remember recently when I was attending the United Nations Civil Society conference in 2004 in Nairobi. I met with Dr. Mithika, and then he challenged me and he asked me a question that you are youth, what are you doing to take on the mantra that we have led? Then I thought to myself, we need to harness the power of storytelling. Then from there, I connected with a platform which is called Zuvu, right in that same conference. And this Zuvu platform is a platform that uses storytelling in order to source funding for the different projects that are happening within Africa through the UNDP. And through this platform, we applied and then we shared our story. And recently, we are happy to say that we received a small grant that really was helpful in kickstarting our project with the Munasi Heights project. Was when we started, we literally had nothing. We started from zero. I had no hives. I had no community. And from the community was there, but there was no really knowledge and the willingness to uptake this kind of projects. So I had to create opportunities for myself and for the community through the power of storytelling, through sharing with the communities, and through sharing with the funders themselves and showing them the power, and picking stories from other different success stories and bring them back to my community. And this has been really, really, really helpful. And my last call to action would be that there's really need for more direct funding pipelines for grassroots climate leaders like the people who have been here on the panel, people like Mandela, people like Marriott. They are really, really articulate, and you can see they really have a vision, and there's really a challenge. So how can banks and governments and investors work with such young entrepreneurs to unlock this? This would be the question. This is the fundamental and the foundation that would build sustainability in order to achieve the 2030 agenda. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Crispus. We have come to an end of this very, 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 very interesting meeting, but without just a kindly reminder for our upcoming UFAFA, I want that each and every one of us, let's just have 1 minute, that's 30 seconds. Your social medias will be posted now, the links. Okay, they're already on the chat box. They're posted on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just go and subscribe, follow, so that you are updated on all of the events that YAF will be hosting and partaking in. For our upcoming UFAFA, every information you're going to be the first to know about. And secondly, this meeting was streamed on YouTube. So if you want to get the live recording as well, go to our YouTube social media handle at YAF Africa. At YAF Africa. Just go to YouTube, search at YAF Africa, and it's going to, the video is going to pop up. So just 5 seconds left. Confirm you are followed all of our social media handles by a like in the chat. in the chat box. Confirm you'll follow all of our social media handles by like in the chat box. Okay, I'm seeing 5 people already. That's great. 6, 7. Okay. This is great. This is great. And any information about when exactly the Nairobi Summer School is going to take place, you can as well visit the website on Nairobi Summer School on Climate Justice. Nairobi Summer School on Climate Justice. Visit their website and all of their social media on Twitter, on Facebook, to get updates on what is happening and what is the latest. Okay, thank you so much to each and every one of you, to my amazing panelists, and shout out to the Axia team, Salem, Orish, Mary, Victor, Loveline, Brittany, Jennifer, Idris, and all those who have not mentioned, thank you so much. And to our amazing Continental Coordinator, Afanu Yembe, and to everyone else who has participated to making this session an amazing and a remarkable one. Thank you so much to Dr. Augustine and to everyone. All right, we have come to an end. See you next time.